listen to your heart.
Hmm.
Because if you listen to your heart, and you will find the way that what is the right place to do. There are always consequences, whatever decision we make. But if we believe in something, because listening to heart is not logical analysis necessarily. Means logic is there.
Sure.
But it is your heart.
Is there any technique to learn how to listen to your heart?
Coming from India as a student wife, I really did not expect much. My role was to be a wife and take care of my husband and his needs. In 92, my husband passed away with a heart attack. I changed the course of my life again and took over the ElectroChem, the company that he has founded. It was a hydrogen energy company, and the electrochemistry. Knew nothing about it, but I am glad that I took over and managed the company for almost 30 years.
Welcome to Indian News. Our guest today is Radha Jalan. She will receive 2024 Lifetime Achievement Award at our 21st Annual Women of the Year Awards Gala for her contributions to community, businesses, entrepreneurship, resilience, and courage. Radha, welcome to our studio.
Nice seeing you again.
Sure. And we are looking forward to honoring you on
Thank you.
April 26th.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we are very excited. So, I want to start with, this is the book you wrote last year. And in the book, one thing stuck out to me was that somewhere you write that still you can feel your skin can still feel the touch of your husband's hand. And it's very courageous that you talk about in this book at this age. First describe that incident and then tell us why did you tell that story?
Well, the part was, it was just like a regular evening. He came late, very late, and I was worried that what happened, because generally he will call me before him. And I don't know what I did, but he just hit me a couple of times. This was something totally unexpected. I grew up in a family that we were not even allowed to hit even the younger people, not the kids. Nobody ever got the slapping or anything. And I was heating his food to serve him because I'd been prepared. And he actually lifted the chair and trying to hit me with the chair. And it broke the chandelier. The part was that incident totally destroyed many of the things which I had taken for granted. Taken for granted was this love, the security in the married relationship. And there was nobody here that I could talk with.
And at that time also the Indian American community was also very small.
It was very small.
Sure.
And the part is, I understand being an immigrant and not having our network of family and friends. It's very stressful. We have to go through the adjustment, both the men and the women. Women have to go through a lot more. For example, way back, I came in 68, and this happened in 84. But even then, you couldn't wear the saris, you couldn't wear the jewelry that you are used to. So it was a lot of stress for anybody during those periods. And being alone, that you don't know where can you go.
So what was your first reaction?
Oh my God, it is so funny. believe it or not, so I used to have long hair down to my shin.
Mm-hmm.
My first reaction was take a scissor and cut it all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me why, but it was kind of to make me looking bad, with all those hair gone. But, the part was, I also realized I have daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn how to deal with.
You have 2 daughters.
I have 2 daughters. Right. And another part was I have been involved into the community in the town. I have made some American friends. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't so sure that our Indian community will respond to it. So I did go to my American friend in the morning and talked with her.
And just to be clear, that domestic violence is still today, in 2024, is still a big taboo in the Indian American community.
It is. It is. And, and this was one of the things that I wanted to bring it out.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Why now?
Why now? We have to take charge of the problems. It is not just now. I have friends who wanted me to tell the story. Mm-hmm. And I felt now I have the credentials. Mm-hmm. I have shown to the community that I am not a bad person. Mm-hmm. I have been successful, raised wonderful daughters. They are married. They have their own lives. I said, now I'm more credible. Mm-hmm. If I did the same thing, say, 15 years ago, people might not have believed. Mm-hmm. And I do know that when I went publicly in Indian community, I did go. Mm-hmm. Remember Arsh Mehrotra? Mm-hmm. So I was on her TV program way back. Mm-hmm. And people were upset at her. Mm-hmm. They told me that she's bad-mouthing her husband. Mm-hmm. Now since he's gone. Mm-hmm. So the community was not ready. Mm-hmm. But now...
And it is still today, if you look in the community, the woman is always blamed. That is her fault.
That is going to happen. But now at least the women know that they can go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Talk with somebody else who knows, who can guide. Mm-hmm. And I do that. So many women, they will come to me and talk. Mm-hmm. We just need somebody to listen.
I'm Diana Clymer. I go by Di, and I feel very lucky to be a friend of Radha Jalan. I've known Radha for many years. We met at a fundraiser for Mike Dukakis, and it was a big fundraiser, and I ran into Radha there. She introduced herself to me. We were both from Concord. And got chatting, and it kind of took off from there. Radha and I have worked on many activities in the town of Concord. And I have been awed by her willingness to say yes to things, to take charge of things, to be part of things in the town. She has said yes to being on the board of a private school, girls' school in Concord, the Shoba Brooks. She said yes to being on the finance committee in town. She said yes to innumerable things. And the latest yes that she said yes to is the weekly newspaper that had just begun in Concord called the Concord Bridge. I brought a copy of it. So you can see it. I've also known Radha in some very difficult times. When her husband died, I was as shocked as she was, and felt very privileged that she asked me to keep her company and going to the funeral home and making the arrangements and so forth.
So now, this is a big act of courage that you wrote in the book, now coming to us and talking openly about this. Where did you get this courage?
I have to say that I grew up in a family where there were strong women. My grandmother would have been by now 125 plus. She was a very strong woman. And I think I get my courage and the strength from her. In her time, she changed her name, first name.
Really?
Yeah. She did not like the name that her parents had given her. And
do you know what the name she was given?
Yeah, so there was a name, I think it was known as Sunti.
Okay.
Sunti Bai. She didn't like it. Her sister's name was Saraswati. She just took her name.
Oh.
So in all the legal paperwork, she was Saraswati Devi.
And there was no conflict with the Saraswati. What happened to her name? She also remained Saraswati or?
No, yeah, because they were in two different places and it didn't matter.
Okay.
My grandmother, she was a revolutionary person for her time. Means, for example, in Marwadis, when the girls will get married, they will wear the bracelets from made with luck. And her this thing was, so it was supposed to be for the good luck. And her logic was, when you are creating the luck, you are killing insects. So I said, what is the good luck when you are killing insects to provide the bracelets for the newly married woman?
So now let's, again, in the context of courage, you learned something from your grandmother, you got the courage. What have you taught your two daughters?
What have I taught to one more thing I have to tell for my grandmother.
Okay.
When I was born, I was the first daughter in the family. She celebrated that with distributing rasgullas.
Okay. And at that time, it was
unheard of that you're celebrating a granddaughter's birthday.
Okay.
So what have I taught my girls? The girls have seen me going through all these things. We have been going to India pretty often. When they were little, we used to go almost every other year. And I do feel that when you stand up for some values, kids just absorb it. They saw the tension in the family, and they saw how I was treated. Means the physical violence was one, but emotional and verbal violence was constant.
So that was the only once the physical violence happened. After that, it didn't happen.
It did not. But the emotional part was always there. And still I was able to function. I was able to take care of them. So I think they learned that you cannot let the negatives stop you. You have to stay focused on your responsibilities. And I am proud to say both of them have done very, very well for their careers, for their personal growth, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah. Now, let's come back to some other topics. One I especially want to talk about is ElectroChem, the company which your husband had founded, and then you took over and without any background. So how challenging was that?
When I took over the company in 1992, as I mentioned, it was a hydrogen energy company. I did not know anything about the technology. One of the reasons I took over the company was I just felt nobody's expecting me to make it. So what do I have to lose? I did have a job offer the day of the services with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This thing was, since I'm employable right now, I will be able to get a job in the future. But this opportunity is not going to come back. I gave myself 6 months, 2 years to measure how am I doing. And on one hand, counted that in case if I close the company and I don't get the job, how am I going to survive? And counted the names of the friends, both college friends, friends around town, who will loan me money so that I can survive. And set myself some goals, 6 months, 2 years, gave myself 2 years mainly. because by that time, my daughter would have graduated from the high school. And Concord being an expensive town, if I needed to move and go in a less expensive place, I was ready to do that. But I did not want to disturb her life until she graduated from the high school. And if the company doesn't work after 2 years, then I will quit and find a job. ElectroChem was a cutting edge technology company. We were working on the lithium ion batteries, which now everybody knows what they are.
Sure, yeah,
We were working,
for the good and bad.
We were working on those. We were working on the fuel cells, hydrogen energy. And I had no idea. Only thing that I knew was that we were a government contract R&D company. And in that process, at times, my husband will give me the proposal to read. And because my being an education major, I could read whether the logic has been following properly or not and make suggestions. So I gave myself short-term goal was a 6 month. And that was that we sent a research proposal with my name on the proposal, not my husband's name. And if I can get that funding, then I know that I am capable of bringing money. I mean, the technical team was there, but they were not. Well, majority of them had left.
Yeah, that was another question I was going to ask you. When you take over, what happens to the staff? What percentage stays there and what?
Well, actually, in my case, within 6 months, I would say 70% had left.
Yeah.
So.
And why? Because of gender or?
Definitely. Because they could not see that how will I be able to run the company. I am not a technical person. I don't have the credentials. They did not realize the strategic thinking, which is critical in running a business. It is not just a technical knowledge. So, for example, as soon as I took over the company, we were, behind in paying the bills and all those kind of a thing. As a startup. So to establish my credentials, you can say, or whatnot, immediately we sent letters to all the vendors, all the government contract monitors. And this is what has happened. I am taking over and we will take care of your bills. We did not hear from anybody for 2 months. So it just gave me time to, get things
put the
organized.
house in order, yeah.
So I think the people don't realize that I was invited for a keynote presentation at Woburn College, which is right outside Cleveland. And so since Woburn was paying for everything, I made an appointment to go and visit the NASA research facility. I called them. I had known the people because, Vinod was talking and I've met.
Vinod was your husband.
Vinod was my husband. I went and talked with them and they asked me, what kind of a project are you working? And I remember before I went, I had one of my technical person make a list of the contracts. And I just gave them the piece of paper. I said, I know nothing. I don't know what is it, but I'm sure you will know what it is. Sure. And I said, and I'm looking for your help to guide me. So that's the strategy part. It is not the technical part.
Now, I have to ask you, so what happened to the grant where your name was put there?
I did get it.
You get the grant?
Oh, yes, I did get it. And
after that, the rest is history.
The part was, so that was only 6 months. And so you can apply for the phase 2 for the 2 year. And that is what I had given myself 2 year time, that if I can get past 2 years, then I will keep the company or I'll. So anyhow, I wrote the proposal. We wrote the proposal for the phase 2 for 2 year continuation. And I know I'm just waiting and oh my God, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I got the grant.
Excellent. And then you ran for 30 years,
That's
the company.
Right.
And then, so now, at the same time as these things were happening in the early phase, Thai Boston was being formed here.
Yeah.
And you were one of the original co-founders of Thai. How that happened?
I have no idea.
Okay.
do think, some people in the group, they knew me. Like Adhika's there had known me. Actually, Vinod and Adi, they had worked on some grants together. They have been at our home. Samir had known me because Samir Desai because I was in Shishu Bharti. I was way back. I was the head of the Shishu Bharti also.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So some of the people had known me. So I don't know who suggested the name and whatnot. And of course, there was no other woman. So I feel...
Yeah, I was the only woman.
Yeah, so I was fortunate. And it was a good experience because now I have credentials, a different kind also, that all these people like Desh and others, they are behind me. I can take that. Okay, these are part of my team that I can. So it was really interesting.
Excellent.
But it worked.
Now, before I let you go, your last word about life. We all walk through and we follow our path, and then suddenly we come on a crossroad and we don't know which side to turn. And if somebody, a young girl or woman or even men, they're standing at that crossroad having no idea where to go, what will be your advice to them?
My advice will be listen to your heart. Because if you listen to your heart, and you will find the way that what is the right place to do. There are always consequences. Whatever decision we make. But if we believe in something, because listening to heart is not logical analysis necessarily. Means logic is there.
Sure.
But it is your heart.
Is there any technique to learn how to listen to your heart? Because most of us, we all have a heart, it works and everything, but somehow we totally fail to listen to the heart.
Well, also the part is, we are focused a lot more about planning. When you do a lot of planning, you are not listening to the heart.
Oh, I think that's a very good technique you told us. Yeah, sure. I'm going to pay attention to that. Sure, yeah.
So it is a risk taking. And you are taking the risk. You are doing pros and cons of the risk taking. You just don't jump into it. So then you are better prepared. What comes in your way. And I think that's the way I look into it. Because listening to the heart gives you the strength to analyze the situation in a different way.
Radha, thank you so much. And I'm really going to follow your advice on heart, okay? It may be too late, but still there is a hope. There's never too late.
There is never too late. Okay.
And we are really looking forward to honoring you on April 26th.
Well, thank you very much, Upendra, and I do appreciate you recognizing me.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.